Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon FireRed. In the last part we reached and explored Celadon City after going through the Pokemon Tower, and now we're in Celadon Gym, which is grass type, and most of the Pokemon here are grass type of some sort, mostly grass poison because there was seldom a grass type in Gen 1 that also wasn't poison subtyped. For instance, Weepinbell, evolution of Bellsprout, weak to flying, fire, psychic, and ice. It's got a decent attack stat and special attack stat, but it's okay. Compared to Bellsprout, I think its evolutions are decent. It evolves from Bellsprout at level 21, I think? Also, this place is a bit weird because there's a lot of pathways you could technically call, or a lot of trainers that are... let me start that sentence. Technically speaking, every trainer in here is optional, depending on the path you take, but you're guaranteed to fight at least 2, I think. Maybe 3, I'm not exactly sure. Either way, we do have another new Pokemon here, Ivysaur, the evolution of Bulbasaur, starting at level 16. Grass, poison, weak to flying, fire, psychic, and ice. It's very special-oriented. Special attack and defense is what this line tends to start focusing on from this point forward. It's okay, but again, I don't like the grass-type starters much of ever. And I think grass was the a special type. In Gen 3, yeah, I think... No, yeah, just from physical special split onwards, it was different. Also, battle theme for this part, speed up theme, is one of the boss themes from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the movie, the game, which is... that game needs to be re-released, and also get a patch, because the DLC patch kind of messed things up a little bit. And here we got another new Pokemon, Gloom, grass poison. You seeing the problem here? Flying, fire, psychic, ice. High special attack, and it evolves from Oddish, starting at level 21. From there, if you actually caught an Oddish back near Cerulean, you actually have a pretty decent choice of which way you can go from there, because it has 2 different evolution choices, one of which we'll even see in a moment. I have my preference with it, but either are useful. Also, I'm going to go quickly use the Pokemon Center. Hello. Lovely weather, isn't it? It's so pleasant. Oh dear, I must have dozed off. Welcome. My name is Erika. I'm the leader of Celadon Gym. I'm a student of the art of flower arranging. My Pokemon are solely of the grass type. Oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea you wished to challenge me. Very well, but I shall not lose. Alright. Starting off, Erika's first Pokemon is going to be Victory Bell, the final evolution of Bellsprout. I'll talk about it in a moment. Grass Poison type has Stun Spore, Acid, Poison Powder, and Giga Drain. It's going to try and get a lot of status effects on you early on. Now, if you have Sunny Day at this point, if you can even get it, I wouldn't recommend it because it has Chlorophyll, and that will double its speed. In fact, all of her Pokemon have the Chlorophyll ability. Victory Bell is okay. It evolves from Weepinbell when you use a Leaf Stone. Flying, fire, ice, psychic, and ice's weaknesses. Again, high attack and special attack stats. It's not a bad grass type. If you're looking for one, you didn't choose Bulbasaur at the start of the game, it's probably the best grass type choice you got in the game, honestly. That's not the Bulbasaur line. I know some people probably argue for other ones. There's at least one I can think of off the top of my head. But for my tastes, no thanks. Next up, she's going to throw out her Tangela. Chlorophyll, again, is the ability. Poison Powder, Constrict, Giga Drain, and Ingrain. This thing's whole deal is that it wants to try and make sure you get as few moves as possible, while also restoring its HP as much as possible. Also, since Blaze reached level 34, it's learning Flamethrower. Goodbye, Ember. I never need you again. Tangela is one of the few grass types in the game that's monotype, which, since it's only grass, it means it's weak to flying, poison, bug, fire, and ice from my memory. It's very defensive, and I think it also has a decent special attack stat. But that monotype, despite me making fun of the fact that most grass types in the game are grass poison, it loses something with the lack of poison. Plus, I think its moveset isn't too good. And her final Pokemon is a Vileplume, one of the final forms of Oddish. Sleep Powder, Acid, Stun Spore, and Giga Drain. Again, a lot of potential status ailments here, depending on how long this fight goes on. Grass poison type, so again, flying, fire, psychic, and ice. Nothing too special. Oh, I concede defeat. You are remarkably strong. I must confer on you the Rainbow Badge. The Rainbow Badge will make Pokemon up to level 50 obey. It also allows Pokemon to use strength in and out of battle. Please also take this with you. And we get TM19, which I believe is Giga Drain? TM19 contains Giga Drain. Half the damage it inflicts is drained to heal your Pokemon. Wouldn't you agree that's a wonderful move? It is the best out of all the Absorb type things. Ultimately, Vileplume's good. It's probably my favorite out of the two evolutions for Oddish, but the other one, when we eventually see it, is good too. But now it's time for us to go into the game corner. This place is a casino just straight up. Everything we see here is slot machines. We got the coin case from a guy in one of the other buildings that Celadon last part, and you need that in order to actually do anything here. Some of the people here will give you coins, and there's also a couple of hidden coin spots littered throughout this place. I just recommend checking every single spot as you can. And that thing in the bottom right there is a printer that gives you a couple of different color choices, and then you can just put your Pokemon team on your trainer card. You can buy coins if you have money for it. 500 for 10,000. It's basically 5 for, I think, 10 in that case. I'm not good at quick math like this. And if you want to get coins, I think I would just recommend maybe like grinding the final bosses over and over again, because slots suck. And over here is the rewards house. You can get a couple different hold items. The charcoal is my favorite one there because it boosts the power of fire type moves. You can just get outright Pokemon. This is an easy way to get Abra and Clefairy. Dratini and Scyther we can get later on, but this is the only way in the game you can get Porygon. And it's not worth the effort unless you're going for Pokédex completion, because Porygon's not that good. You can also get some scattered TMs. TM13 is the one I would really want to get there, because that's, I believe, Blizzard, which is a high power but lower accuracy ice type move, which I'd want to put on Chris eventually. Whether or not I actually go after it, I'm not sure yet. Ice Beam, which I believe I might already have or can purchase elsewhere, is just as useful. Either way, let's talk about the slots here themselves. It's the only game in the original generation's game corner, unlike later ones, which you get things like Voltorb Flip. When you go into the slots, any of the around 30 there are that you can select, you can pay between 1 and 3 coins to activate the 3 colored rows. 1 coin only gives you the center row, 2 gives you the top and bottom, and 3 gives you the diagonals. As for the payouts, for 1 Pokeball Cherry, you get 2 coins. For 2, you get 6. For matching either 3 Shelters or Staryu's, you get 8. Same with 3 Magnemites or Voltorbs. For 3 Psyducks or Slowpokes, you get 15. Same with 3 Pikachus. For 3 Blue R's, you get 100. And for 777s, the jackpot, you get 300. That means to get a Porygon, you need to do about 34 jackpots in a row, which you're not guaranteed to do. Overall, when it comes to getting coins here at the game corner, I'd recommend just using the Versus Seeker to rematch trainers all over Kanto, and grinding money with that. And if you're going for Pokédex completion anyway, you're probably going to be grinding experience points to get other evolutions anyway, so it's just the more worth it method. Porygon is the only thing otherwise worth here to get beyond some of the TMs that can only be gotten here. It's a thing, I don't like it. I've never liked the game corners in any of the games. The music's good though. I'm getting this poster. Go away or else. You know, if you talk to some of the people here in the game corner, they mentioned that apparently there's a rumor that Team Rocket owns this place. So, this isn't suspicious at all. Also, get used to seeing these Pokemon now from now on. It's kind of set in stone. The Team Rocket hideout might be discovered. I better tell boss. Hey, let's switch behind the poster. Let's push it. With that, welcome to the next major dungeon, the Rocket Hideout. Every Pokemon trainer you encounter in here is a Team Rocket grunt, so you're running into like the same 5 or 6 Pokemon. Zubats, Raticates, Coughings, Ekans, and there's one more I'm forgetting. Either way, you're not missing much in these Pokemon battles. Also, that guy looks like he's required, but you can just walk right past him anyway, just because there's nothing down there of worth. We also do get the new puzzle elements for this part of the game, though. These arrow tiles. When you step on one, you're sent rocketing in that direction into other ones until you hit a yellow tile, in which case you stop. The puzzle is essentially just to find your way around this maze, using them to your advantage and disadvantage. Compared to the original Gen 1, though, these things have been sped up tremendously, because in the original Gen 1, you moved at maybe about 1/3 of the speed, and it was tedious. Made this area a lot longer than it needed to be. And now it's very short. Also helping these puzzles be a bit easier is the fact that since we're on the Game Boy Advance now, we have a wider screen ratio, meaning we can now actually see more of the puzzle at once. Overall, it's kind of a thing with Gen 1 that it's kind of hard to go back to with it, and Gen 2 to a lesser extent as well. The early generations didn't have much in the way of puzzles for their dungeons and gyms, because they were already held together with paperclips, so any more data would probably just make the games crash as it was, and even then, we got close to that with Gold and Silver as it was before Iwata came in and compressed the whole game in a new way. Thank you, Iwata, by the way. I really should see if I can find like a ROM of that Pokemon Silver demo that leaked about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, because that looked really interesting. It appears to need a key. Before we can use the elevator here in the Rocket Hideout, we need to find a key to use it, so for now we can just only head down to the next floor. This dungeon gave me trouble as a kid. Not so much now, because back in 2004 when I was 7, I just had a lot of trouble with RPG dungeon layouts in general that were the more linear type from like Final Fantasy 7 or 9. Just because I had trouble thinking. I still do, if the way my words buffer is any indication. But I'm definitely a lot better at speaking than I used to be. You can tell that just by looking back at my old LPs. Ugh. The mic quality was shit, as was my commentary. So not much has changed, clearly. Yeah, I like to think I'm better now. There's also a good amount of good items to get here in the Rocket Hideout that are generally just worth your time to go out of the way to grab. In the original Gen 1, I would have been tempted to not grab them just because these panels took so long. Not so much now. Also, this Rocket Grunt is also optional. You can just walk down at the first opportunity and completely avoid it. And here we get a new item for Gen 1, the Black Glasses. This was introduced in Gen 2. That is a hold item that increases the power of Dark-type moves. Also went to go use the Pokemon Center because I'm me. And now for this guy. And a TM49, that snatch, I believe, that steals items from Pokemon. The elevator doesn't work. Who has the lift key? This guy was a bit of a different thing in the original Gen 1 because due to how the games work, you can talk to every trainer after battle for different lines of dialogue, and in order to get the lift key we need, you needed to talk to him after beating him, I believe. Whereas now, here in the remake, the moment we beat him, he's gonna drop it. Oh no, I dropped the lift key! And it even shows up on the map. Thank you, and goodbye. That's one of those quality of life improvements for the remake that just feels so good. And now we need to head back to this lift, because we got the lift key, which now allows us to go to 2 new areas. The very southern half of the first floor, or first basement, which just has another Rocket Grunt for us to fight. As well as down to the end of the dungeon where the boss awaits. This dungeon always just felt a bit weird, though, in comparison to everything else, because compared to other teams in the Pokemon games, the hideouts are usually one of the last things you raid before the final gym battles. So this one just feels oddly early. And we have to fight these 2 Rocket Grunts to get through to the boss, so let's just take care of them real quick. Each of them does have a new Pokemon for us to fight, though. This one in particular has the evolution of Sandshrew, one of my favorite Pokemon, especially from Gen 7 onwards, because the Alolan form. Sandslash. Pure ground type, which means it is weak to water, grass, and ice. It's got a high attack stat and a very high defense stat. I love this thing. Its moveset's pretty good, it's very physical based, it's just overall a very good physical attacker if you need one. I heavily considered adding one to my team for this playthrough, but then I realized, nah, that'd be a bit too similar to my Crystal LP from back when. I want to at least get some variation in Pokemon beyond Vaporeon, because there will always be a Vaporeon, I'm just going to tell you that now. Sandslash ultimately is still very useful here in Gen 1, but it's at its most useful in the early game after Cerulean, because having a Sandshrew into Sandslash on your team, and Leaf Green in specific, because it's the only place you can get one naturally, just allows you to completely nullify most threat from Lieutenant Surge. Going forward, though, there are still a lot of electric Pokemon, so it's still going to be relatively useful. Also, since its special defense isn't the best, I can use Flamethrower despite it not being very effective. That's always the thing you have to keep in mind with balance when it comes to Pokemon games. Sometimes the stronger move that's not very effective is going to be the better choice just because of the opponent Pokemon's higher physical or special defense, and each should the case be what. More often than not, though, I just go for whatever move's strongest or type effective just because, it's me. This Rocket Grunt also has a new Pokemon and another evolution. Its third Pokemon is going to be the evolution of Ekans Arbok. Like with Ekans, it is a pure poison type, which means it is weak to ground and psychic. It's got a decent attack and speed stat, but again, it's like with Ekans, it's only alright at best, I feel. If you like it, it's a good Pokemon enough, I suppose. I just am not a fan. I'm always a fan of its voice from the anime, though, because I don't know why. I just like how it pronounces Charbak. Ah, the original Gen 1 teams for everyone were so nostalgic for me. That's the only way I'm kind of a Gen 1er, is that I really like the Gen 1 anime. After starting from Gen 4, it kind of got a bit eh. So, I must say I am impressed you got here. Team Rocket captures Pokemon from around the world. They're important tools for keeping our criminal enterprise going. I am the leader, Giovanni. For your insolence, you will feel a world of pain. Unlike most of the Team Rocket grunts, its boss, Giovanni, tends to use rock and ground type more than any kind of poison type, starting off with his Onix. This thing has Rock Throw, Bind, Rage, and Harden, if I recall correctly, and the Rock Head ability, which prevents recoil damage from any moves that have it, like Takedown later on. The only exception to that is Struggle, which is actually not a move I've talked about yet. Essentially, when you run out of moves, you're not screwed. You have a move called Struggle, which damages you a little bit, but is good for like that last push of HP if you need to. Next up, we got another new Pokemon. This is Rhyhorn. Ground Rock. Weak to Fighting, Ground, Steel, Water, Grass, and Ice, and Water and Grass in particular are a 4x weakness. It's got a high defense stat, but otherwise nothing too special. However, I happen to like this thing a lot for moveset reasons, and we might even see one of them later on. Wink, wink. And plus, it's also the first Pokemon, which, you know, it's cool. Yeah, behind the scenes, this was the first one designed, or was it its evolution? One of the two was. Which is why that Jeopardy question of which was the first Pokemon between Arceus, Mew, Rhyhorn, or Bulbasaur is such a dick move, because they're all first in their own way. And finally, he's got a Kangaskhan. Fake Out, Mega Punch, Bite, and Tail Whip ability is an early bird, which makes them awaken from a sleep status after sooner than usual. Like, it halves the amount it needs. Kangaskhan is pure normal type, which means it's weak to only fighting. Stats-wise, it's got high HP, attack, and I think speed. But honestly, unless it's like one of your favorite Pokemon, normal-type Pokemon are seldom worth using in my eyes, because yeah, they can use a lot of moves from a lot of types, but the lack of same attack bonus, it just doesn't make it worth it for me. They're incredibly rare, too. You can only find these in one area later on. And if you see one, try to catch it, I guess, but not to my tastes. I love the baby, though. I love the baby so much. And from what we've seen at this point in promotional material for the Sword and Shield anime, where they're going to have times where they show Pikachu's backstory, and when he was a Pichu and he's going to be with a baby Kangaskhan, it looks so adorable. This first fight against Giovanni can be hard, but as you can see, even based off levels, I'm relatively ahead, so I don't have to worry too much. What? This can't be. I see that you raise Pokemon with utmost care. A child like you would never understand what I hope to achieve. I shall step aside this time. I hope we meet again. And he drops this Sylph Scope, which, as one of the Rocket Grunts mentions, means we can now see ghosts. Which means, well, we know where we can take that. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 11, we're going to be heading back to the Pokemon Tower to take care of the last business we can there, before heading on to our next major town. See you guys then.